the list of who's who and where the names, where they're from. So I'm not sure of that. I presume that that's sitting with the JOC and the medical teams. And this is a private building, not a government building, but that's, of course, that's irrelevant. It doesn't matter whether it's a private building or a government building. That's why we have appointed these independent investigators.
And then the question on the Western Cape government's big construction push. Premier, would you want to deal with that? Whether you've satisfied any building regulations and rules have been flouted? Again, that's where the investigation comes in.
Again, I mean, I can't comment on that. That must come out of the investigation.
And then, Colin, just if you could reiterate those details, at what point it moves into a different phase from search and recovery?
The international standard that we work on is 3 days. Understanding that, a person trapped might have severe injuries because of the weight of the construction. So we give it 3 days. If a person is trapped in an area where there's water, they're not heavily injured, and these being construction workers, and we don't have, children or that kind of thing, we are giving it the maximum time, but we're not bound by that. So, for example, if we do take off the top layer or top 2 layers and we find people, we will continue to stay in rescue mode. We will make the call to go into recovery mode at a point when we see that there is, after 3 days, that will be the minimum, when we see that there is very little hope of finding anybody alive, but that's not what we're focusing on right now.
All right, this is your last chance for questions from people attending the briefing in person. Going once, going twice. There are the hands. Kevin. Kevin, can you put your microphone on?
I'm Kevin from ENCA. I just want to know, would someone be able to bring the building size into context in terms of how many units were built, and if you can maybe talk a bit more about the actual size of the building that was under construction? Thank you.
Right, this gentleman here.
No, I mean, I know that the electricians were moving on, so I think it's multiple companies.
Yeah, because we spent the whole night there. That was the first difficulty to determine how many people, because it was different companies. There was painters, electricians, builders, etc. So it was all different construction companies that worked on this on the site. But Premier, maybe you can just give the news.
Yeah, so while this conference is going on, it's sweet. One more deceased of the and then one more alive. Dr. Wayne Smith just sent me a note to say one more deceased. So that was of the 26 that were already up, but we've just removed one other person alive.
Kevin, if you could just repeat your question, please.
In terms of the flat or apartment building that was under construction there, how many units, to give us an idea of the size of the entire building? To say, for instance, we're building 50 apartments or 15, or just to bring the size of the entire building into context.
I think it was about 5 floors and a basement. And a lift shop. I mean, that's all that I really know. But I want to say that we want to have regular press updates, and as soon as we've got the team on site, we can then probably from the investigation team, because obviously that sounds like a lot of questions coming in about what's going to happen about the investigation, the planning issues, and that maybe we can actually have dedicated professional who can sort to answer those questions.
Got one last question, and then we'll close the question and answer session. And I think, Colin, you'd be best to field this question. Somebody asking on social media, can't we have rows of volunteers standing in a line, passing rubble hand over hand, removing that small rubble in inverted commas with qualified rescuers leading the head, giving instructions?
So we're actually already doing that. We have a lot of volunteers. The rescue, what we call rescue technicians, they are the people that are inside breaking the concrete, doing the searching, and we have a lot of volunteers that are doing the movement of the debris. We're trying to keep it a very clean site, and what we mean with that is every bit of debris that gets removed gets taken off site, so that we have an area that is safe to work in under the circumstances. There's a lot, as I said, there's a lot of volunteers, and I think that operation is actually running smoothly. There's only so many people you can put around a building like that, and we have to take that into account as well. Thank you.
So no further questions. I think that brings this media briefing to a conclusion. Just to indicate that the situation is very fluid. There are ongoing developments through the day. We'll do our best to keep you informed. Georgia Municipality has been sending out regular updates in the form of statements every 3 hours, and we will endeavour to continue with that line of communication to keep you in the loop with all the developments. So if I could just appeal for a bit of patience from the side of the media in terms of this ongoing situation. Just to indicate as well, we will be issuing a statement post this briefing to supplement the communications coming from Georgia Municipality's media team, and that will be forthcoming in the next hour or so. But we'll keep you in the loop through our various lines of communication. With that, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, both online and in person. And yeah, we will provide further updates in the form of briefings or traditional communications and on social media as and when we receive those updates. Thank you.